What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Uh, I just want to hit on something real quick. Y'all bear with me, right? So I was listening around, I was listening and my mind just told me to talk about, something that's been registering to me for a little bit, right? And my mind was saying, if if you ain't changing it, you choosing it, right? So what does that mean, right? So I'm pretty sure most of y'all that's gonna hear this uh, has been going through situations, right? Especially in my little circle, right? We've been talking about people losing their lives and people that's going through uh, uh, unimaginable situations, right? And especially after the weekend, we've been celebrating people, giving people their flowers while they're here, because you just don't know when times is going to allow you to make the efforts to change things before you can, right? So, well, we have a lot of decisions to make in life, right? First and foremost, I don't even like the word change, but it's gonna sit here for this reason, right? Because in life we have decisions, right? We either gonna stay where we are, we either gonna grow, which is improvement, or we gonna regress, which is the change that a lot of people may feel is going on in their life, right? But whatever it is, you have that decision, right? So if you know you are living a life to where it's not satisfactory for you, right? You have to make the decision, how am I going to change it? But you cannot get upset if you say you want to change it and then don't work on changing it. Then you chose the life that you are living, right? If, for example, if you want to go through life being rich, right? You have to understand, you have to choose the mentality of, being an employee to becoming an employer. Because most of us may or may not understand that it's very hard to get rich being an employee. Meaning, if you're working for somebody, there's no way that this is very difficult. It's improbable that you are going to reach the roles of riches, right? You may hit lotto. Okay, we understand that. Those are exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, if you ain't changing your mindset to become a boss, you will always be a worker, right? If you go through your life saying, you know what, I'm tired of people uh 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 discrediting me, misquoting me. The way to change that is to be loud and clear, to be abundantly clear. So there's no mistaking what you have said. They can translate it however they want. But when you speak loud enough and people are listening to understand that you are making the decision to change how you are being received, change how you are representing yourself, right? You guys understand that I also say your content is your character, right? If you want to improve on your content, on your character, you continue to do that by working on it. If you choose not to do that, you will be represented the way that you are. You will be seen as the person you are. I try hard and I try adamantly to be the person that I am on live, off live, because in reality, all of it is real to me, right? This is not I'm not an actor. I don't have a SAG card. I don't have any of those things, right? This is not a perpetration of a fraud. I know that I have to do these things because I need the representation to be a person of who I am, right? So what's the best way I do it? I stay away from situations, right? Not everybody can do it, right? Because some people, They feel like they have that balance of or straddling the fence. They can go to a chaotic scene and bring people to a peaceful scene. But in your heart of hearts, you can't do both. So you have to make the choice, right? You have to make that decision. Do I stay where I am, or do I find a way to get around it? But understand, if you're not changing it, you are choosing the outcome that you're going to get, right? If it's a reason why people have to go to get treatment, right? Whether it's alcohol, substance, things of that nature, right? You have to change it because you are choosing to not want to be in that realm no more. Whatever it is, sex addiction, depression, diabetes, things of that nature. You have to make that choice to say, you know what, I'm ready to change what's going on in my body. If you're trying to learn to have wisdom and understanding, you have to make that choice to sit still and be taught instead of following the things that kept you away from the wisdom and understanding in the first place. We have to really sit down and have this conversation with ourselves. Sometimes we are afraid of the fact that we have to examine ourselves to see what's wrong with us. Some of us can't look at ourselves in a mirror, physically or otherwise, right? Some of us know we going down the wrong path, but we like, you know what? This is all I know. I don't want to change it. So then you must understand that you have chosen the consequences of what you have not or are not willing to change. And you know, there's a lot of people out here who's willing to be there for you. There's a lot of people that's willing to support your decisions in life, right? But some of the decisions we make is because we are afraid to fail. We have to understand that one of the greatest lessons that we are taught in life is through failure, right? If you fail to open up a business, right, you learn from it and then you choose to go forward and you make the corrections in that failure, but you're changing your decision to go forward, right? In a relationship, that relationship didn't work out for whatever reason. He didn't want to listen. We couldn't compromise. She didn't want to uh, 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 allow herself to be vulnerable. Whatever the decision is, if we don't go through the failures in life, if we was just all to succeed, we wouldn't know how to operate through trials and failures. But we have to choose to change whatever we doing, right? I'm one of the people that says, you know what, we need to come together. How do I work on that, right? The first thing I have to change is my availability. I am, you know, I am available to whoever wants to sit down and have this conversation. Why? Because I know that there's a lot of people that wants this conversation, but they don't know how to make the first step. I'm willing to make the first step with whoever wants to make the first steps. We can take it together, right? I know y'all see the table in the background, but we don't need a table. We just need the chairs. If we don't need the chairs, there's grass. We can sit down and have a conversation in a circle, right? But it's all about the changes that we want in our lives. But if you don't change it, then you are choosing whatever's going wrong. If you want to be happy, you must change your surroundings if it's making you sad. If you want peace, you must change your surroundings where it is chaos. If you want love, you must change your surroundings in the places that dwells with hate, right? We understand that there's a duality in life. There must be a balance in life. We understand that. But if you can't control one side, how do you think it's going to be improbable for you to change it? We have to we have to renew our minds to say, hey, you know what? The change is a necessity, right? It is warranted because I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. If you guys are not sick and tired, then you ain't going to want to change. But if you're not going to want to change, you must understand that the results that you get is what you chose. Nobody is forcing you to sit there and not want to renew and change your situations, your attributes, your mind, your soul, your body, right? If you're going through an ailment in your body, sometimes you gotta fast it away. But you have to make that decision for yourself. You have to choose that decision. You have to make the change. All right, I don't want to eat all of this. I'd rather eat some favorable food, right? If you want to go vegan, go vegan. Understand that you are going vegan because you don't want the products of the processed meats that's going on, the chicken and the whatever, the chicken, the beef, the processed, the fake fish, or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. But that's the change that you make, and when you make that change, you are choosing to remove yourself from a situation. It is a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing because you made that decision on your own. Nobody forced you to do it. Nobody told you to turn around and say, you know what, let me go ahead and figure this out. No, nobody's doing this, but it's for you, right? At the end of the day, it's for you, right? As much as people want to be there for you, you gotta wear them shoes that you put on your feet every day. You the one that have to sit in your mind and contemplate it, right? The greatest peace in the world is when your mind is not racing. You have to set your mind, you have to make that change for it to get to that level of quietness in your mind where things are not racing. Okay, we understand. How is it possible to do that? The choices that you make is going to help you to change the decisions in your life, right? Let me worry about one thing at a time. Okay, let me worry about my children. Let me worry about this bill. Let me worry about but you have to take it on at one at a time. If you take the steps that you need to, it'll be resolved for you. We understand that the race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but those who endure. You endure by pacing yourself. And if you take the opportunity to change the way that you're pacing yourself, you may not be rushing to a final decision, right? It's all about the things that you choose to change in your life, right? If you're going through obstacles, let me conquer one at a time, whether it's the big one to the small one or vice versa. But if you take it one step at a time, it'll relieve you from some of the stress that you are adding to yourself. It will relieve you from the rampantness of thoughts in your mind. But that's the change that you have to decide. That's the decisions that you have to make. And your choices will be shown and evident in front of you. But it's about us, right? It's about what we have to go through. We as a group, but you as an individual, right? Like I said, I would love for people to help me, but I have to understand what I need to change if I need to change. Sometimes we don't even recognize that we need to change because we are so comfortable in what we're sitting in that there's nothing wrong with it. What is wrong with it, right? But in your heart of hearts, you are depressed on the low. In your heart of hearts, you are manic because you are so used to what you're doing, it doesn't even matter. And then we have a problem with answering our own questions in our own ways, right? But if we keep repeating the same thing and get the same results, they say that's insanity. We have to really truly sit down and say, how do we choose? How do we change so we can choose a different route, a different destination for us, right? Do we I can't trust nobody. Now you have to figure out how to change your mentality. It only takes one person to make a change. But guess who that person has to be in the first place? You and I, right? On the individual basis, it has to be you and I. So we have to figure these things out as individuals. And, you know, when we figure this out as individuals, if people are observant and your actions are speaking the same language of what they are seeing, they can have the hope to say, hey, I can do the same thing that person did with me. I got to make the change with myself, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we need to do in life. We need to make the changes to empower ourselves, uplift ourselves, not sit in the doldrums by ourselves. But we are so afraid because people have harmed us more than they have helped us. we keep it all bottled in. You sweep it under the rug, and even with that, until you change that mindset, you keep sweeping it under the rug. That rug is going to become a hill, and sooner or later you're going to trip over it. These are the reasons why we have to sit there and make the decisions to change the things that we need to change, or we understand, or we figure out we're going to have this, we choosing the consequences that's coming before us. These are the situations that are at hand, right? But as my guy would say, a better you is a better us. If you continue to work on yourself, you give inspiration, you give the fire, like, I can do the same thing, right? And then if you get better, I can get better. If I give you advice and you give me advice, and we see the improvement over time because of the advice we are giving each other, that builds something. That becomes, okay, for some of you that might want to call it an association, it's an association. But in all reality, you are building a friendship. How is it a friendship? Because you're taking the time. Somebody has been able to open up to you. You have been shown grace because you have opened up to somebody. If I open up to you, I am giving you the grace to know my situation, right? And then when you see the improvement, you open up a little more. When you see the works that you are working is working in your favor, it allows you to open up a little bit more. That builds a friendship. We have to stop running as soon as the first person the person in front of us is running and not knowing why we're running. Some of us do know why we're running. It's really because we are in defense mode. We in flight or defense and flight mode. We shouldn't be on defense and flight mode if we need to change our situations. We need to be active in deciding how do we need to change ourselves and not living with the choices that we previously made. It is time for us to change, y'all. There are people that's leaving us each and every day who may have said the same thing. I don't have time. I don't have time. And now they're not among us anymore. Or now they're fighting for their lives, right? We are not getting older. We are closer to our ends than the beginnings. Most of us, right? Those of you that's in your 30s, in your 40s, the Bible tells you you only got 3 scores and 10 to live your life. That's what's according to the Bible is promised to you. Do you understand? Some of us is halfway through that already. We talk about 50 being the golden age. Some of us is 25. Some of us is 30. Some of us is 35. And a lot of us ain't getting to 70 because of the choices that we making in our lives. Whether we eating, if we're not eating right, if our minds is all over the place, our mental health is not working the way it's supposed to. It's up to us to make the change. But in order to make the change, you got to stop the nonsense. And in the nonsense, there's only one person involved. That is you and I. How many of us is willing to make the change so we can improve the choices that we once made? We don't have to stay in the mess forever. You can walk towards a blessing. You can walk towards your greatness. But if you ain't trying to make the change to strive for that, you're making the choices that stagnation wants you to make. It wants you to sit still. It wants you to be in doom and gloom. It wants you to be sad and crying. It wants you to have the worriations that you've been having, giving you the headaches, the stress modes, to where some of us maybe looking to stroke out. There's a lot of people crashing out on this app because we are not willing to make the changes to step away from the chaos. I always say some people's peace is chaos, but some people's peace is a piece of madness. PIECE. Why? Because we are not willing to make the sacrifices to change ourselves. Right? We're not willing to walk out on faith. There's a lot of people that says they are religious but never walks out on faith. If the religion that you was following is based on faith, you must follow the faith that is being bestowed upon you. And if you're not taking that leap of faith, that step of faith, that hand of faith. You cannot be upset with the choices from not taking them steps in the first place. It's the seasons are changing, right? Are you making the choices to prepare it? I'm pretty sure a lot of places in America is now becoming cold. The season of winter is ahead of us. That means your leaves are falling, right? You have to adjust in the same form of fashion. It You have to understand it could only your sadness, your depression, your anger, your frustrations. It could be a season for you as well. But it's up to you to make the changes, the adjustments for you to get away from them choices that you made to stay in the decisions that you made in the first place. Each and every one of us have that ability to do it. But we have the strength to make that change, right? We have to have the strength to say, you know what? I really need to do this. I can't live like this no more. I don't want to live like this no more. You want to be a helper, you have to change your mindset to say, you know what? I'm tired of being in people's way. If I'm a hindrance, I can't help. You have to make those changes. And if people don't want to receive your help, you have to make that change to say, you know what? I care about this person that much. I will fall to the side. I'll My fallback game is on 100. Let me remove ourselves out the way. Even if you feel like you're not getting the results that you want, you have to pay attention to what's in front of you because you may be helping more than you're hurting, but you won't know because you are stuck in your ways, right? So it's up to each and every one of us going forward that we really must understand that if we ain't changing our situations, we are choosing to be in it. You have to be open and honest with yourself and decide, is what I'm doing right? Is it what I'm doing helping me? If Is what I'm doing helping me grow? If not, I need to make the changes within myself. And it's okay to ask for help, right? Because we all don't have the answers. We are all not perfect. We could strive for it, but we know we ain't gonna be perfect. But understand, when you're striving for perfection, you are making the choice. You are making the change to where the things that you used to do may happen less and less all the time. You may not stumble on the same situation every time. You may be able to rise to the occasion. But when you reach that finish line, you will be the occasion to be risen to. But it all starts with change. It all starts with a change of your mind. It all starts with a change of your heart. It all starts with a change of souls and spirit. We know there's a war for uh, uh, clashing inside of you, right? You must manage it, but you must understand why the change is a necessity in order to get to your get to the victory. And until you understand that, you will continuously live in the choices that you previously made. But for those of you that think that you are doing well, you still can make the change to improve on yourself, right? It's not just about the people that's not satisfied or they're they're not happy with things that's going on with them. If you're happy, you can have abundance of happiness, but you can't be satisfied. You have to change your satisfaction, right? This is not just about from sad to happiness. From happy, you can go from being happy to being blissful, to be in an enjoyment stage of life. But you have to change the mindsets of where you stand at this particular place in time. So, I just wanted to come up here and have this conversation, because, like I said, I am viewing people that's going through situations. I've seen people lose lives. I've seen people that is, like I said, in deathbeds. I've seen people that are uh, just moving around. They're not even living life. They're just here. right? All because they feel like there's no change in them, and they're willing to stick with the choices that they made. I just want everybody to know that you can actually change your environment. You can change your scenery. And I promise you, when you decide that you want better, the choices that you previously made will slip away from you. And when you go forward, please don't look back. You look back to see how far you came, but don't dwell on the distance. Dwell on how much closer you are changing from the choices that you previously made. Switch lanes, however you got to do it. But when you do that, you know you're going forward and not backwards. So I appreciate you guys, taking the time to watch this video. As always, if you leave comments and things like that, there can be a follow up live. There could be, a conversation about it. As always, I'm willing to add to a situation. So if you add to me, I will do my best to add to the conversation, answer your questions, so we can get to the embetterment that we all need in life. So with that being said, y'all, I appreciate y'all. I'm signing out.